Good morning, members of the board, members of the media, and Chicagoans. My name is Andre Johnson. I'm representing Magic Johnson Bridgescape Academies. It's truly an honor to be here and speak before you today. Very humbled and excited to talk about our program. You know, Magic Johnson Bridgescape Academies focuses on dropout recovery. So we target those students in between ages of 14 and 20 who dropped out of school. And we think, while statistically we've done well, you know, when you look at Warren County, which has an 89% graduation rate, and you look at Cincinnati, Ohio, who has a 76% retention rate. We think those statistics are great, and we're very proud of those, but we really focus on the emotional side of dropouts because we feel that it's emotionally driven. A lot of our students aren't dropping out of school because they can't keep up with the academics. It's due to different life reasons. So we really focus on our wraparound services, which on one side, you know, we understand that certain students have to work. So we've broken it out into 2 shifts, but we take those students and provide them through our Magic Workforce Solutions program an opportunity to have executive job training. And through that 4-week program in which they complete, we place them within Fortune 500 companies. So really understanding that the importance is to get them back and get the diploma, but really seeing further than that and focusing on then allowing our students to have a job, but also go to college. We have a Taylor Michael Scholarship Program in which we currently have about 150 students across the country in a number of universities, which we pay full room and board, and we've actually allocated 10% of those scholarships to go to our Bridgescape graduates. So we're really excited about that and just trying to tie in and help prepare our students to be the next leaders of tomorrow. So our company, Magic Johnson Enterprises, if you don't know, we've built our brand on focusing to bring the best goods and services
Mr.
to
Johnson,
urban communities.
Mr. Johnson, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes, so
Thank you.
We're excited to be here this morning and talk about the program and really help push our students to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for the work you do with our young people. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next speaker then will be speaker number 3, Patricia Porter, followed by speaker number 4, Shatil Jones, then speaker number 6, Glenda Pettigrew, and then I will call Jesse Sharkey, who is here from the CTU after that speaker, followed by speaker number 5, Ted Williams, and then speaker number 7, please, Bernadette Ballinger.
Hello, my name is Patricia Porter. I'm a proud parent from Inglewood. I'm a parent leader with New School for Chicago. I have a child that faces learning and behavior challenges. I have been from school to school trying to find an environment that can help her to succeed and eventually attend college. Her name is Antoinette, an 8th grader with an IEP. But despite this, she is highly capable of learning. Ms. Bennett, you personally know of my experience in trying to find a quality school with a quality education for Antoinette. I am here to urge you and the Board of Education to bring schools to Inglewood that can serve students of all backgrounds. This is of utmost importance because we are losing our children because they are not being set up to succeed. The lack of quality schools in Inglewood is impacting our children and our families. There are troubles like violence and other issues, but access to a quality education is the only way to save them. This problem has been going on for years, and we can't wait another to see it fixed. We need quality education in Inglewood now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Porter.
Thank you. Good morning, CPS. My name is Glenda Pettigrew, and I live in Inglewood. I'm a grandparent of 3 CPS children, students. I am also a leader with New Schools of Chicago. I'm always looking for the best for my kids. The school in our neighborhoods are plagued with violence and low expectations. So every day, I spend 2.5 hours on public transportation, taking my kids to a high-quality charter school outside of our neighborhood. In this school, my students have high expectations placed upon them. They receive more discipline, specialized programs, scholarships, and attention from their teachers, and they have benefited from this. Kids who come from traditional schools in our neighborhood are behind in basics of reading, math, just like one of my grandchildren. All schools in Inglewood need to be quality schools with high standards. If the kids in our neighborhood receive the best education, they will be able to get jobs and be successful individuals. While my kids are receiving a good quality education, many students in our neighborhoods do not have an equal chance to succeed. You can't just close schools without considering if they are setting students up to succeed.
Ms. Pettigrew, excuse me, can you please conclude?
CPS, I'm here today to urge you to open more quality schools like KIP so that all students have the option to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pettigrew.
Next speaker, please, Jesse Sharkey from the CTU. He will be followed by speaker number 5, please, Ted Williams, and then speaker number 7, Bernadette Ballinger, and then followed by the individuals that are here regarding turnarounds. Speaker number 8, Sonita Lewis. Speaker number 10, Samuel Brown. Speaker number 12, Tamaka Ricks, and followed by 26, Ceresi Miller. Thank you.
Mr. Vitale, members of the board, Mr. Scotia, hello, new cabinet level leaders, Mr. Babbitts and others. Welcome to the rumble tumble world of Chicago public schools in the season of closings. The CTU, and I'm speaking on behalf of the 30,000 members of this union, continue to hold grave concerns about the stated intention to close many public schools this spring. I'd begin by noting that thousands of students will learn of the closings months after the application deadline to other schools have passed. And I want to know if the board intends to alter this in any way. Employees will be displaced late in the hiring season after, for example, most suburban schools have already done their hiring. And I would like also note that, that many of these schools are going to have predominantly African-American staffs who will be affected disproportionately. The preliminary report from the commission has called for high schools to be spared due to concerns about potential violence. But we know that many of the problems in that area begin in grades 6, 7, and 8. So I wonder, what about middle schools? I heard the board, Mr. Babbitts' report and Dr. Bird Bennett's report talk about transition plans. The CEO has promised a real improvement in the receiving schools. So, for example, if there's a closing school that has a music program, we would like to hear assurances that the receiving school will also have a music program. It might be that music is the thing sort of allowing a particular student to unlock their human potential, and that's important that students not wind up having a well-resourced school closed in order to go to one that's more poorly resourced. Now we see a Tribune report that the number that the commission is hearing is that 15 is the school. Barbara Bent talks about detailed lists of the things that have to happen for these schools. Whoever they're talking to inside CPS's own shop is saying 15 is the number they can do. And while the CTU is not happy with the number 15, we do think the difference between that number, the number 15, and the 100 or so that are being threatened is a precise measure of how much chaos, dismay, and disruption this policy will potentially bring. That being said, we continue to say that pursuing a policy of school closings while charter schools are being opened doesn't make sense if the schools are being closed in the name of underutilization. And I can just say that in my own neighborhood, Rogers Park, there is a CMSA charter school which is occupying a single-story cinder block former mini mall that just had a new $1 million gym put on it, so they're adding capacity. There's a new UNO charter school that opened this last year. At the same time that's happening, 4 blocks away, Gale School is on the closing list for being underutilized. and I would like to seriously and strenuously urge you to reconsider the closings policy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next speaker then, please. Speaker number 5, Ted Williams. That will be a void. The next speaker then, speaker number 7, Bernadette Ballinger. Last call. Moving on to the turnaround group. Speaker number 8, please, Sonita Lewis. Moving on to Samuel Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanita Lewis, and I'm from the neighborhood of Woodlawn. I'm a proud parent of 2 children, which attend Dulles School of Excellence. My title at Dulles, I'm an LSC chairperson, basketball coach for the girls, volleyball coach, assistant coach for the softball team as well. And both of my children are on different sports at that school as well. To give you an insight on the turnaround of what Dulles have become, great school. Before the turnaround of Dulles, you can say Dulles was like really a disaster of, the children trying to take over the school against the teachers. Once the turnaround came, it was a great difference. New teachers, new principal. Right now, the school is so intact that the children love to come to school every day. You have it to where the scores have gone up tremendously. After school activities now are inside the school to where they weren't at first. You have the teachers to where they're so dedicated to the children, they stay after school a lot of times to help the children out of whatever help that they need. Personal relationships with a lot of parents to where we can call the teachers for any help that we need from them. Happiness, love from the teachers, from every staff member in that school, to where they love the children so much. Open arms, anything the parents and the students have, of questions towards the teachers is definitely not a problem. The dedication that the turnaround teachers have right now.
Ms.
To where,
Lewis, I'm
Yes.
sorry, excuse me, can you please conclude?
No problem.
Thank you.
And it's like, if everyone will have this in their schools, with the parents having a thought of, letting the turnaround come inside the schools, it would be tremendously great, because you can't ask for more. And, the kids love it, and a lot of things going on in our neighborhood, that's a safe haven place that they love to come to. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Our next speaker then will be speaker number 10, Samuel Brown. I would like to add speaker number 11, President Vitale. Namaya Wesley is also on turnaround, so she'll speak after Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Ms. Bennett, and everyone. My name is Samuel Brown Jr., and I'm a very proud parent. I live in the South Shore area. My wife is the chairperson of the Bradwell PAC, and I'm also a delegate, and very proud graduate of Stand for Children as a certified parent advocate. I want to share my experience as a parent at Myra Bradwell before the turnaround. My children entered Bradwell 1 year prior to the turnaround. She came home every day depressed, discouraged. The lack of sincere leadership and zero discipline interfered with her daily education. She entered the school testing 2 grades above her level and was confused with her scores. The environment was not conducive to academic achievement. No programs were put into place to guide the students on the road to success, and the majority of the students were not prepared for standardized testing. That was then. Now, she has excelled in her exams and had great improvement. She is now excited about school. I am proud to share with you that under Principal Bennett's outstanding leadership, Bradwell have experienced tremendous growth. For example, the school has been on probation for many years before the turnaround, but within a short amount of time under Ms. Bennett's leadership, the school has gone from a level 3 to a level 2. Although we can still improve, Bradwell has gone from a school no one believed in to a shining example of improvement and commitment to students of the South Side of Chicago. It feels great to know that my children are no longer in a failing and underperforming school. And as a member of Stand for Children, I am committed to advocating for high-quality public schools in all neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. I am here today to recommend to the Board of Education that they continue to invest in proven school models such as turnaround schools like Bradwell. It has made a huge difference in the quality of education my children receive. I would recommend that more parents get involved in the children's education and become advocates of high-quality public education. I understand what it means.
Mr. Brown, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I understand what it means to have meaningful dialogue with teachers and principals, how to set high expectations for my children to make sure they are on track to graduate from high school and go on to graduate from college. My wife and I understand that we are our children's most important role models. Thank you.
1 second, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown?
Brown, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Were you for or against the turnaround before it happened?
I'm for the turnaround.
But when it before it happened, because your daughter was there before the turnaround, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you a supporter or not?
I've been a supporter of her all my life, so I was still supportive of the turnaround. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Hello, my name is Nahemia Wesley. I live in the South Shore area. I am a proud parent of a daughter who attends Bradwell School of Excellence. I am also a recent graduate of Stand for Children as a certified parent advocate. My child has been attending Bradwell since she was in the 1st grade. She is now in the 4th grade. When she was first going to Bradwell, I was uncomfortable with the school. I was constantly going to the school because she was being bullied. There were also other misunderstandings such as homework and just other issues I constantly had to deal with. This continued for two long years. I was ready to pull my child out of Bradwell at the end of school year, but then I received a letter stating that the school was about to undergo some major changes. The school was about to become a turnaround school. From the very beginning, so many good things started to happen. On the first day of school, school staff was outside welcoming children back to school. That made me feel a little better and feel very good about the situation. I thought to myself, this is a good sign. I started getting study guides for my students' homework. Letters started coming in informing me what was going on in the school and what was going to be taking place. Now I don't worry about as many things in the school. My only concern now is making sure my child does her job, and that's being a good student. I am proud of Principal Bennett. She is an outstanding leader. Bradwell has grown so much over the 3 years. Ms. Bennett encourages parents to get involved and become active with the students at the school. As busy as she gets, she still makes time to sit down with the parents and discuss how to make things better for the students at Bradwell.
Ms. Wesley, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
Who would have thought that between now and then things would turn around for the better? As a proud parent and daughter of excellence, of a student at Bradwell of Excellence, I am a proud graduate and member of Stand for Children. I would recommend more parents get involved in their child's education. I had the opportunity to take a 10-week parent engagement course that taught me how to get more involved in my child's schooling, especially understanding how important grades and test scores are, how to make sure she is on track to college. Thanks to Stand for Children, I am now a proud certified parent advocate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please send speaker 26, Ceresi Miller. I understand Tameka Ricks is not in the audience anymore, so we'll proceed with the next group of speakers as Ms. Miller approaches the podium there. We will move on to the individuals that registered regarding Jones, please. Speaker number 13, Richard Weindorfer, followed by speaker number 19, John Jacoby, followed by speaker 30, Sandy Thayer, speaker 32, Enrique Perez, followed by 34, Mr. Dennis O'Neill, please.
My name is Ceresi Miller. I live in the Bronzeville area. I have 2 children that attend Fuller School of Excellence. I am an active parent. I have noticed that Fuller is a school that provides structure, motivation, and direction for the children. They know what is expected of them at all times. They are spoken to like they are intelligent in an articulate manner.
The kids, my kids, know that there is structure also at home. So it's comforting to know that what I have planted will continue to grow at school. One of the things that I do notice, Dr. White, which is the vice principal, and Ms. Creed, they stand in hallways. They know their students by first and last name. They notice when they are doing well as correction. So I would say to any parent that is not for the turnaround, keep an open mind, stay active, know that we are our children's first teacher at home, and it needs to be reflected in everyday life, not just at school, and they need to be held accountable. So make sure that you're holding your students accountable, and just to know their schedule and what homework is due, to stay on top of them. I am, my kindergartner is a special needs child. His teacher is gifted amazingly. She has 28 students in her class, and all of them are so excited, and they are growing, making leaps and bounds. So I encourage all of you to just take an active role, and just not to let the staff and teachers see you on parent-teacher conferences. You know, let your face be known in the community.
Ms. Miller, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just thankful that I have this opportunity to speak to you, and I love what's happening.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Miller.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Richard Weindorfer, and I am the president of the South Loop Neighbors Community Group. I am also the elected community representative for Jones High School, College Prep, and I'm also in the 2nd Ward. I'd just like to say I'm very pleased to see that Jones College Prep is going up. It's been a very long time that's been happening, so it's good to see it's going to open this coming fall. I would also like to say it's great to see that this selective enrollment school, again, is being erected. It's being erected by TIF funds from the 2nd and 3rd wards, and it's going to benefit the entire city of Chicago. And now I would ask that the board please consider to help out the 2nd and 3rd wards. The South Loop neighborhood, which this includes, has been growing for the last 40 years exponentially, and it's time for a community high school. We've been promised over the years a community high school, and I believe it's time for that. We now have the demographic information to prove that from the most recent census, so I please ask that the board consider that. The other day, a public official said that high-quality educational choices are needed in the city, and the South Loop really doesn't have that without a community high school. So again, parents will leave if they do not have this high school, and the city will lose and the children will use. So please consider that. Thank you.
My name is John Jacoby. I represent the Prairie District Neighborhood Alliance and also a coalition of community groups that came together to found Reuse Jones. For 4 years, I have fought to save the current Jones building from the wrecking ball so it could fill the critical need for a neighborhood high school serving families in the South Loop, West Loop, Chinatown, and the near South Side. It would take more than 2 minutes that you allot me to list the names of all the CPS and City Hall officials I've met with or communicated with on this issue, but the list would start at the top, including the mayor, board president Mr. Vitale, COO Tim Cawley, J.C. Brizard, Ron Huberman, and it would extend through his key staff, Patricia Taylor, Abigail Joseph, Jose Alvarez, Mike Matheny, Mike Rendina, Lindy McGuire, Jim Dispenza, Jennifer Cheatham, Sean Stallings, Michelle Young, and many others. Of course, I was before this board, along with 10 other people, that asked you for this school in the August board meeting. CPS told me for 4 years that the issues with the Jones building were insurmountable and that repair costs were in excess of $50 million. So imagine my surprise to hear our mayor yesterday say that he had a revelation on November 4th when he called B3 and said, "Why are we tearing this building down?" Unfortunately, his plan to add selective seats does nothing to help the families in the community that paid the tax dollars that built Jones and have paid the tax dollars that will now repair Jones. On Friday, I received an email from Dr. Bennett, and I quote her, "Since I became CEO of CPS last October, I've made it my mission to rebuild trust within our school communities." Well, Dr. Byrd, you get an F on this assignment, as does this board and as does City Hall.
Mr. Jacoby, excuse me, can you please conclude?
I will.
Thank you.
We need a community neighborhood high school to serve the families in this area and to prevent them from moving to the suburbs. You took away Jones, which was a key asset that could have fulfilled that need. It's time to meet with us and tell us what the plan is to fulfill that need. Thank you.
Our next speaker then will be speaker number 32, Enrique Perez, followed by speaker 34, Dennis O'Neill, and then we'll proceed with speaker number 14, Irma Eckford, followed by speaker number 21, please, Andrew Stevens.
Dear Board, my name is Enrique Perez, and I'm a South Loop parent. Your decision to merge the existing Jones College Prep building into the new Jones was a bad decision. The South Loop does not need more selective enrollment space. It needs a neighborhood high school where parents can send their kids without having to score in the 99.999 percentile on some test to even get in. Your policies are driving parents with young children out of Chicago right as they enter their peak earning years. This means that the South Loop parents who might otherwise move from a 1 or 2 bedroom condo into a 3 or 4 bedroom townhouse, thereby greatly increasing the property taxes they otherwise pay, are leaving Chicago for the suburbs and taking their economic contributions with them. All because CPS refuses to give our kids the education that we have already paid for. Keep in mind that South Loop property taxpayers have paid $85 million in TIF money to build the new Jones. In exchange, CPS has given us a crumbs of 75 seats per grade in the new Jones CTE program, of which the word on the street is over 1,000 applications have already been received for those seats. With an overcrowded elementary school that is throwing away its gifted program because it's so overcrowded, and with no viable neighborhood high school, CPS really needs to do more to remedy its failings. In closing, I would like to cite the following quote: "We recognize the need for a more granular level of community engagement. It's something we've heard loud and clear. It is critical that the community has a choice to give us their feedback on individual schools, and we want to provide you with that opportunity." These, gentlemen and ladies, are not my words. They are the words of Barbara Byrd Bennett, CEO of CPS, in a press release dated January 11, 2013. What CPS has done with Jones, however, is a direct contradiction of these high-minded words.
Mr. Perez,
Yes,
excuse
I will
me.
conclude.
Thank
Do
you.
not let your words ring hollow. Please reconsider the Jones decision. The South Loop never, ever had the benefit of a CAC, which was touted so much at this meeting. So please re-engage the South Loop community and keep our parents in Chicago. Please give the South Loop a neighborhood high school like it deserves and like we paid for. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, President Vitale and Dr. Byrd Bennett and the members of the board and all the leadership team that's here. Thank you so much for hearing the community and working with the community. The Jones decision is obviously something that will help the community and help the city. We understand the very difficult circumstances that this board and the rest of the people at CPS face. It's obviously very difficult with the structural deficit that you're facing and a whole host of other issues. So thank you for listening to the community. Thank you for working with communities. We thank the mayor and everybody else that's involved in this decision. I'm here with Christian Dockick, who comes from a family of educators, and her daughter Ella, who's a fourth grader at STEM Magnet. We wanted to obviously thank you for that as well. And Ella's a fourth grader. She reads at the 12th grade level and is quite good in math too. So I think she's representative of what is in our community, and we really look forward to working with CPS to improve our schools in the community. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, President Vitale and the school board.
Excuse me, Mr. President, but she didn't register to speak.
Keep it very brief, please.
Okay, as he said, I came from a history of schools. My father was superintendent of schools, so we are very thankful for the creation of STEM, and we look forward to a hopeful creation in the Central City, South Loop, West Loop area for a new high school. If okay, my daughter's going to say a couple of words. She wrote an essay that was a project by her fourth grade teacher to go out into the community, do interviews and research to collect data, and the main voice was, we need a school.
Okay, the title of my essay is Educational Rights for All, the Need for More Schools in My Neighborhood. My thesis statement is free public education is a right for all children. There is an urgent need for both elementary and high schools in my neighborhood, the West Loop. I believe that if I raise awareness to people in Chicago, together we will be able to motivate others to help create more schools in my area. My plan will be to share my essay and research, conduct interviews with people, and learn how I and other children can help fight for the educational rights for all children and the need for more schools in my neighborhood. I thank you for building STEM.
Thank you both. Thank you all. I had the opportunity to visit your school last month. It's a terrific school.
Thank you.
I just said I want to hire her.
Next speaker, please. Last call for Irma Eckert. Speaker number 21 would be next, please. Andrew Stevens, last call. Moving on to the next group of speakers, please, then. Speaker number 25, Latoya Jones, followed by speaker 29, Mary Beth Welch, followed by speaker number 31, Angelica Alfaro.
Good afternoon, board members, president. My name is Latoya Jones. I live in the Woodlawn neighborhood and I work with New Schools for Chicago. Excuse me. I am the parent of a fifth grader at Providence Inglewood Charter School. I am not the type to usually march in the streets, but I am here because of the thousands of other Chicagoans like myself who know a quality public education is the key to a great future. I've moved my son to a charter school so he can have the same opportunity as his counterparts that live outside the city. He was in a traditional school, and I have nothing against CPS personally, but I knew the elementary school that he was in was not going to get him where he needed to be. I am here today, though, because there are 123,000 students in our city who are not as lucky as my son. That's what the 123 campaign was about. That's why we held 123 campaign events throughout the city last year, to shine the light on the 123,000 students that are not in quality schools. There are parents like myself in barbershops, beauty salons, colleges throughout the city, and churches, and we all share the same vision: success for our children. And the only way that can happen is if you open more quality schools, because consolidating and closing failing schools will not address that issue. I am here today to urge you, the Board of Education, to approve the new 2 charter applications that you postponed last month. And more importantly, to remind you to keep the needs of the children first, because that's who actually deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Last call for Mary Beth Welch.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Alfaro. As I speak to high-quality education today, I think of my parents who have obtained a 3rd and 5th grade education from a place where education was not an option. I stand here today as a graduate of Noble's first class, and most importantly, as the first in my family to graduate from college. I am currently the advocacy manager from Noble. My role is to work with their parents who come from all 50 wards and more than 70 communities around the city to make sure their voice is heard. Our parents are very grateful that you are allowing them to choose the best education for their child. Noble is currently accepting applications for next year's class. We have already received 6,000 applications today for just 3,000 seats. Despite growing from one campus of 600 students to 12 campuses serving 7,600 students, we continue to be overwhelmed by the demand from our families around the city. Parents are choosing Noble because our schools are safe, respectful environments where students can achieve significant academic success. We're proud that all Noble campuses rank among the top performing non-selective open enrollment high schools in Chicago, and that 90% of our graduates go on to college each year. On behalf of our parents, thank you. Thank you for providing high-quality education choices for families across the city. We are enormously grateful to the board and the leadership from CPS for your support of Noble, and we look forward to continuing to work together to meet that demand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alfaro, and we really appreciate the quality work that Noble's doing in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just to note, we have hit the 1 hour mark of public participation with approximately 21 speakers left on the list. Our next group of speakers then will be speaker number 36, please, George Schmidt, followed by speaker 37, Rosita Shatunda, followed by speaker 38, Francis Newman, and then speaker 39, please, Jerome Quant. Last call for George Schmidt. Moving on to Rosita Shatunda.
Oh.
Good morning, Mr. Vitale, Dr. Escocia. Welcome to the board. Thank you. It's going to be interesting now that you're here to see whether Chicago adopts a policy of local hiring. I'm here to speak about a number of issues, and I'll be writing about most of them. My list has 10 things on it, and I'm sure in 2 minutes I can get to at least 9 of them. The first question I have for the board is Ms. Pritzker still a member of the board? There's no sign, the seat's empty. Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Good, thank you very much. My original topic was going to be things that we've left out, the sort of Orwellian nature of reality we face today. It's been said that the CAFR is going to come out today. That's your annual financial report. When that comes out, we will know the actual facts of whether the deficit you talked about a year ago came to fruition in the fund balances you have today. You've already seen that. That's a fact, and we can have that discussion in the future when it becomes public. To talk about a $1 billion deficit or a deficit crisis when you have a 20-year history now, as at least 2 members of the board would know, of projecting deficits that turn out to go in the opposite direction is unfair to the public, and it should end. And I'm actually optimistic that you might be willing to do that in the next few months, but we'll see. The CAFR is the first step. Thank you very much for that. A concern I have today is that you're erasing your own history. If you go to your website, you had the agendas of the board going back to the year 2000, and most of us thought you were going to go back before that, even to the days when Dr. Escocia and I began in this system. Instead, you've erased 2000, 2001, and 2002. They are no longer on the website. I don't know why that happened, whether somebody hit the delete button accidentally, but I suggest this might be the reason. 2002 was the last year that this board met in public schools every other month. This board began after 2002 meeting here in what I call the bunker.
Mr. Schmidt,
under
excuse
heavy
me.
security.
Mr. Schmidt, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Oh my gosh, I'm only on number 2, Estella.
You're beyond your 2 minutes, Mr. Schmidt.
I'm, well, if anybody wants to do more, I'll continue, but I will be making this available. And there's one last thing then. If the secretary will give these to the members of the board, here's the problem we have. One of my jobs is as a reporter and an analyst. And I'm not going to play middle school mean girls with the current Office of Communications. If you have a question about something that we report, after we've tried to get a comment from your office, we would appreciate hearing from you. That's why you're getting my card. What I mean by the current Office of Communications is the strangling of actual communications and information is unprecedented in the history of this board. And that's a fact. My other 7 I'll save for forms that I have to report. Thank you very much. Let's hope that we smile more in the coming year and that transparency actually takes place. I really do hope that eventually the record of the board meetings goes all the way back to the 1840s when this board began. But since you've erased 2002, 2001, and 2000 for reasons you haven't explained, I'm confident that at least you'll reconsider that fact today. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Our next speaker then will be speaker number 37, Rosita Shatunda, followed by Speaker 38, Francis Newman, followed by Speaker 39, Jerome Quant, and then the next group of speakers will be Speaker 40, Ann Carlson, followed by Speaker 41, George Blakemore, and then 42, please, Edna Navarro Vidare.
Okay, good. I think it's good morning. I don't know what time it is, but good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for recognizing our CAC and to thank Bob Runcie for, even though he's not here, for creating this venue so that we could have voice in our community. Today I'm here to speak to you in regards to the impact of closings on South and West Side school communities. We've looked at the consolidations, phase out, closings, turnarounds, and now underutilizations that have impacted our South and West Side schools in a way that's unequal to the impact that it has had on other school communities. To sum it up, Renaissance 2010 was basically balanced off the backs of poor minority families on the South and West Sides. Since the late 90s and after the Mandatory Act was passed, there had been a drop in African American students from 52 to 43%. So we've lost quite a few students, not to mention the 76% of the suspensions that African American students have received. We talk about teacher demographics. We're looking at a drop for 45% down to where we're wavering between 19 to 24% of the teacher population. In addition, there's been an exodus of over 200 to 300,000 African Americans from the city of Chicago. And this is particularly concerning to me because my
Ms.
son
Shatunda,
and
excuse
his
me.
family,
Ms.
yes, I
Shatunda,
will,
thank
are
you.
one of those families that left Chicago as a result of school reform / what I call gentrification initiatives in Chicago. To sum it up, we have in every category, every demographic, absorbed the brunt of this in our communities, and we can tell it when we go in our communities. There's an increase in violence. There's an increase in hopelessness. One of the things that we're asking at the South Shore CAC is
Ms.
for
Shatunda,
you.
excuse
I'm
me.
just gonna sum it up, but we're asking you this. There are jobs that we need. We need these jobs for our children. When we have teacher induction programs, we're asking that you not look in Oregon or Alaska or anywhere else. We need our students who attend these schools to have these jobs. We need tracks, education tracks in there, so we can recruit from our community.
Thank you.
We need
Thank you,
a
Ms.
teacher
Shatunda.
induction
Our next speaker.
program
Our next speaker,
in
please.
our communities. And please save our teachers that are working now.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Shatunda. Our next speaker then, please. Francis Newman.
Good afternoon, Board. The first thing that I want to say is that I'm not here to address Mr. Vitale, because as I watch the board meeting month after month, it angers me that concerns that run contrary to CPS's agenda, which is, in my opinion, is to further marginalize and disenfranchise the African American community, is of no concern to him. We saw evidence of it this morning. He smiled and addressed people that weren't even signed up to speak. And I see him month after month, not only not answer, he's reading a paper, you know, and really, I wonder how the board lets him get away with such blatant disrespect. We are Alfonso and Francis Newman, and we're parents of 5 children in CPS schools. We have serious concerns about the choices or options that will be available to the thousands of families who will be affected in school closings. And after this, and this is after the New Schools Expo is over, the options for knowledge process is complete, and the seats in the best charter schools are taken. And while this is what we already suspected, after the conversation this morning, we're convinced that you really have no idea of what will be done with these children. And this would never happen with another population of children. How do you pass a law for early disclosure and then use this game of CEO and CAO musical chairs to justify giving parents a couple of months to secure a school for their children. In closing, I would like to quote my husband. We discussed this situation. He said, everybody wants additional time because they're new to a position, but when do they want to start getting paid? Thank you.
Our next speaker, please, Jerome Quant.
President Vitale and CPS board members, thank you for your time this morning. My name is Jerry Quant. I'm the parent of a current Abraham Lincoln Elementary third grader, as well as a 4-year-old who will absolutely be attending Lincoln Elementary in the future. I'm here representing the interests of Lincoln Elementary's community, including its children, its administration, its faculty. Lincoln Elementary is truly one of the crown jewels of the CPS neighborhood school system. Lincoln's exceptional performance is widely known and has resulted in more people moving into the neighborhood. And more of these people are choosing Lincoln versus other public and private options. This influx has resulted in a sustained overcrowding of over 120% utilization for the last 3 years. For the last 5 years, we've played by the rules seeking solutions from CPS. We've put requests in through the proper channels. We've even provided our own potential solutions to CPS in the hope of partnering with you for a solution. The result? CPS has offered us no solutions to date for our long-term overcrowding. Because of our relentless pursuit for excellence, no matter the odds, our community and administration has been forced to shift, rearrange, and move our kids into closets, hallways, and now even stairwells, because there's just not enough room to educate them properly. Yet, in spite of this ongoing neglect, Lincoln has continued to excel both academically and socially. We achieve this success through an integrated community, a rigorous commitment to our humanities-based curriculum that integrates all of our K through 8 grades together, our partnership with Eco Franco-Americana de Chicago, and Abraham Lincoln Elementary School Music Association.
Mr. Quant, excuse me, can you please conclude?
Our request is simple. Help us now, not tomorrow. Help us to continue to be the top performing neighborhood school we built ourselves to be. Ensure proper space solutions for Abraham Lincoln Elementary as part of CPS's 2013 and 2014 school actions. Help us acquire the necessary space and resources for the parents and community members who've worked so hard to make Lincoln the anchor of this community, and show up-and-coming neighborhoods that their investment of time and effort in their neighborhood school will be greatly rewarded. Lincoln Elementary has a real need today, and it requires a
Mr.
real
Quant,
solution today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please. Ann Carlson, speaker 40.
Good afternoon. My name is Ann Carlson. I am a parent of 3 children, 2 of whom attend a CPS school. I'm a teacher at Drummond Montessori School, where I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in a self-contained classroom. I have 31 students. I'm also a mandated reporter, and today I want to report the child abuse that is occurring in our schools. It's called excessive, high-stakes standardized testing. Why am I calling this abuse? Here's why. Number 1, some kindergarten students are taking up to 14 tests per year. This is criminal. At this age, children should be listening to read-alouds of books like Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats, not sitting in front of a computer screen taking a test. Number 2, K-2 teachers have cut guided reading groups from their schedules because there simply isn't enough time to instruct with all of these assessments. At these grades, most tests are given one-to-one with the teacher, which amounts to a lot of lost instructional time. The NWEA MAP test is administered on computers, and during the testing window, other students are not able to visit the lab to complete research projects. There's a wide range of how long students take this test because it's computer adaptive. One of my students took 225 minutes to complete the initial test because he kept answering correct questions. Yes, 225 minutes to complete it over several days. Think about all the instructional time that is lost. There's a wide disparity among CPS schools in terms of how much testing is being delivered. I happen to work at a level 1 school, so we're only administering the mandated tests. However, for level 3 schools, even the optional tests are mandatory. So the word optional is just a carrot on a stick and doesn't follow the true definition from Webster's dictionary. involving an option, not compulsory.
Ms. Carlson, excuse me, can you please conclude?
I already passed out a new report signed by Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan, former CEO of CPS, and here's the punchline. Overall, the MAP program did not have a statistically significant impact on student reading achievement in either grade 4 or 5. The brave teachers at Garfield High School in Seattle who boycotted the MAP test did so because the test is useless. Now, Arnie Duncan himself has confirmed that it's useless in elementary as well. And speaking of Duncan, let's not forget the decision that was made during his term. In 2002, this board decided to eliminate the CASE test because there were so many problems with it. So
Thank
we
you,
can
Ms.
learn
Carlson.
from history.
Our next speaker, please.
I call on you
Thank
to
you.
listen to what I said. Thank you.
Thank you. As Mr. Blakemore approaches, our next group of speakers then will be Speaker 42, Edna Navarro, followed by Speaker 43, Eusebio Figueiredo, followed by Speaker 44, Kristen Roberts, please.
My name is George Blakemore, and I'm a concerned citizen, and things just don't happen. I signed up on the internet to speak, knowing that probably I would be in the top 10 or 20, but 41, also, I believe that this was on purpose, to make sure that the room was empty before Mr. Blakemore could speak. I always come here and I'm focused on Black history. You know, we just had Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, and he said betrayal is evil and silence is evil. When you don't speak out, when you see injustice, things that are not fair. One of the speakers came up here and spoke. She didn't sign up, but you let her speak, and you got rules. Everybody's supposed to go by rules and regulation. This is supposed to be a law and order city. However, old lady Justice, she peeps and see race, she see class, and this happened in educating Black children. Racism still exists, and I'm challenging Black parents. When I look out on that elevator, it says, educate me. It says, inspire me. And it says, transform me. So I am challenging, not this board, but Black parents. Your mission is to make sure that your children get a high quality education. Black people always stress education. Some of you forget where you're coming from. We're up north.
Mr. Blakemore.
We're not down south, up north, and we still have racism that exists on these urban plantations. But don't think the white man gonna educate your children. Don't think Chicago public school gonna do justice by your children. You go by, educate me. I'm Black, I'm a Black child. Train me.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore.
And inspire me.
Our next speaker, please.
And make sure that our people are employed. Where there's poverty, there's ignorance. So again, I want all of you to be blessed and bless somebody else.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. Our next speaker, please. Last call for Edna Navarro. Eusebio Figueiredo. Kristen Roberts. Moving on to speaker number 45, please, Claudia Herrera, followed by 46, please, Jackson Powder, and then 47, Burl McQueen. Moving on to the next group of speakers, please. Speaker 48, Nadia Gold. Karen Soto, speaker 52.
She's coming.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Nadia Gould. I'm a parent of 2 CPS students. A few years ago, My kids were in 2 different CPS schools, which happened to be on 2 different school calendars. I know from my personal experience how challenging it is for parents to handle 2 different school schedules. With that in mind, I applaud both CPS and CTU for agreeing to develop a single school calendar for all CPS schools. I also want to compliment the new CPS leadership on the speed and the manner in which it got to work on this. Back at the end of December, I wrote an email to Dr. Burt Bennett on behalf of a group of CPS parents expressing our concerns about how long it historically took to arrive at a published CPS calendar. Last year, it didn't come out until, I believe, early April. I thought that at best, I would get an automated email response that the calendar is in the works. To my surprise, the next day I got an email from Dr. Burt Bennett, from her iPhone, I believe, and it was over the weekend, on Saturday, and she invited me to participate in focus groups. She also asked me to spread the word and invite other parents to participate. I was also invited to attend the decision-making meeting, which took place 10 days ago. Our job then was to review the results of a survey of thousands of parents, students, and teachers, and to discuss in detail the various options. I was impressed with the inclusiveness of the process and how willing to listen CPS and CTU leadership was at each step. Various points of view were well represented at the final meeting, and even though a number of us came to the table with our own personal and group preferences, we were able to come up with a calendar that I firmly believe will work for the majority of the stakeholders. No calendar can satisfy every desire and preference. It certainly does not satisfy my personal one. But given the amount of fact gathering done by the calendar committee, which was comprised of parents like me, teachers who are also parents, members of the CPS and CTU, I feel that we got to the best possible result. With that in mind, I would urge you to approve the unified calendar as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goulden. Thank you for your efforts in working with the management to come up with the recommendation.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you. I'm here to speak to you about the academic calendar. My name is Karen Soto. I'm a parent of 3 CPS students. I'm a CPS teacher. I am also a CTU delegate. The reason I'm speaking to you is because I have had many parents talk to me as a parent, also as a teacher, and I've had teachers talk to me as well about how they were not included in this process. We have many low-income students at our schools. Many parents do not have access to computers, and them not being able to participate or understand what was being asked of them online was a big issue for them. And although they may or may not agree with the calendar as it is set up right now, the fact that they didn't have a voice is my problem. When we had the My Voice, My School survey come out and those report cards were generated for schools, though that was sent out as a paper form, it was also made available online. And there has been concern from parents that that was not the case when the school year was kind of proposed. And because of that, if you guys really want to address the needs of the parents and the kids and even the teachers, you need to be able to print this out. I get that it won't be convenient, but you need to allow for the participation of all of these parents so that they can have a voice in this calendar. It may end up looking a lot like what you guys have. However, they need the opportunity to express their choices and to have it laid out before them instead of being asked questions about intercessions after each break and not really understanding what that looks like on a calendar. So that's what I wanted to speak to you guys about. I really hope that you consider not voting on this calendar and giving families the opportunity to vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soto.